Verse. Today we will discuss the most famous poem of Rabindranath Tagore. It is in the 11th class textbook of Jammu and Kashmir Board of School Education. The name of the poem is Where the Mind is Without Fear. I will be discussing this poem in two parts. In first part, I will discuss the text of the poem, I will explain the text of the poem, and also I will try to see what is behind the theme of this poem that Rabindranath Tagore has composed this beautiful poem. And first of all, let me tell you something about the poet, because you all know Rabindranath Tagore. I will read it for you over here, then I will explain it. Rabindranath Tagore, a gifted Indian poet and philosopher, was born in Bengal in 1861. He is the first Indian to have been honored with the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. Tagore tried to deepen the mutual understandings between the Indian and the Western cultures. Tagore wrote primarily in Bengali, but interestingly, he himself translated many of his literary works in English. With the publication of Gitanjali, Tagore's fame spread worldwide. His writings are highly imagistic, deeply spiritual, and imbued with his love of nature and his homeland. So this is something about Tagore. You know Rabindranath Tagore, he is also called a muse. A muse is a person who is multi-talented, because it is derived from Greek mythology. A muse who is, I may say, proficient in dancing, in singing, in writing, in sculpturing, in painting, and composing poems and all other things. Rabindranath Tagore was like that. He was a good painter, he was a good sculptor, he was a great poet, he was a great dramatist, he was a great composer, he was a great composer of music. So he was a gifted Indian poet and philosopher as well. Now, Vishwabhat University, you might have heard, it is on his name. It's there. He was born in Bengal in 1861. It is almost 160 years before, perhaps. Almost 160 years before. He is the first Indian who received the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. There are other people. In 1930 there was also C.V. Raman, who received Nobel Prize. He was also the first Indian to receive a Nobel Prize in science, in physics. Tagore was a person who tried to deepen the mutual understandings, to understand each other, the Western cultures and the Indian cultures. And at this time, you must bear in mind that it were the British who had occupied this India as well, and India was their slave. It was under their direct rule. And Tagore started his writings primarily in Bengali. But it is very much interesting to know that he himself translated many of his literary works in English. With the publication of Gitanjali, this is the book which earned him the Nobel Prize in Literature, Tagore's fame spread all over the world. His writings are highly imagistic. They are deeply spiritual. They have a spiritual touch in it, and they are imbued with love of nature and his homeland. And you must remember, this is the man who has also written the national anthem of India, as is sung everywhere on every occasion in India. That is Jana Gana Man Adhinaik Jaya Hai. You might be remembering that as well. Now, let us first of all read something from the text of the poem. Now I am going to read the text for you, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear streams of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. I'll read it once for you. Once again, I will read it for you. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up in fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Now, let us come to the theme of the poem, then I will explain this, I will paraphrase this poem word by word, then we will go to the deeper explanation. Since the poem has been written in the era when India was under the subjugation of the British and the colonial rule was in vogue, the poet longs for freedom and wishes to see his homeland freed from the bondages of slavery he has been compelled to undergo. The poet wishes his countrymen to live with their heads held high and speak freely and enjoy the nature without fear. This poem is, in a sense, a kind of prayer that rises from the deeper and inner feelings of the poet. You know, at the time when Rabindranath Tagore was born, you see, in 1861, you remember only 4 years before, there was a great uprising from the Indians where many Indian soldiers, the British soldiers were massacred, where they were killed, and Indians had come up with the arms against the British, because British had illegally occupied India and they ruled India for more than 300 years. Okay, it was only in 1947 when India became free from the colonial rule of the British. So you see, it has an impact. This thing has an impact on the minds of the people, especially the poets. When the poet composes his composition, and when accordingly, when Rabindranath Tagore composed his poem, he was also, it was lurking in his mind that his country men were, they had fear in their minds. They couldn't express themselves freely. They couldn't move freely. They were highly fearing the British, because British subjugated them and they tortured them. And it is when our this man says, it is because in the backdrop of this poem the theme lies that Tagore wants to see his country freed from the bondages of the British. Tagore wants to see that his people are free from the bondages from the British, that his country is free and the slavery is gone, it is abolished, and the British go back to their country. But at the same time, the slavery has its own disadvantages, because when you are a slave, your mind is occupied, you have fear in mind, your reason is corrupted, your I must say your thoughts are corrupted, your sayings are corrupted, you get corrupted everywhere, because your mind is occupied. And with this result, what happens to a person, his reason is gone, his habits, his unprogressive thoughts come out of their minds. So it is because Tagore has censored it from his countrymen. He saw that people were taking things lightly, they were not having that much patriotic, we must say, that feelings inside, that strong feelings inside. People had almost given up before this all this colonial rule. Mm, people were highly, we must say, fearing. And it is that the prayer comes onto the mind. And you see that Tagore awakens his people. He longs, he wishes before God or Allah to give their people, to give the people of India free minds, so that they can think and they can rise against the authority, and they may free their country, and also let their reason work. So it is behind this poem. This is the theme that has been discussed in this. Now, explanations of the poem will be taken tomorrow, but today I will go for the simple paraphrasing of this poem. Now you see, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free. Now you imagine that the poet is longing, the poet is wishing a place, a country. You remember in mind that India is under the British occupation. India is under the British occupation, and the poet sees that the people are highly subjugated, people are tortured, people are criticized. Okay, you see, pe- people are criticized, people are tortured. And what happens over here? I'm sorry, I'm here to interrupt, because you see what happens here. uh, please forgive me for some minutes, please. So, where the mind is without fear, I'm I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I was interrupted by a call, but you will please forgive me for this. Now I'll tell you, where the mind is without fear. Where the mind is without fear means it, the poet longs in his heart that there should be a place which should be without any fear. There should be a land where there should be no fear in the minds of the people, where the mind is free to speak whatever the mind wants to, whatever a person wants to speak, he is fair. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, and where people walk with dignity, where people hold their heads high, where they walk with dignity, and where knowledge is free. Whatever knowledge you want to seek, it should be free, because it is said that Britishers imposed their knowledge on Indians, and they rejected the Indian version of the knowledge that time, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. And the poet sees in a dream, like he wants to see a country. He wants the world should be a single unit. There should be no political boundaries. Say, for example, this is India, this is Sri Lanka, this is Pakistan, this is Bangladesh. No, there should be no domestic walls at all. All people are the children of God. All people are the descendants of God. All people are from God. And the poet says that everybody should be there should be no country, there should be no borders, there should be only one country in the world. And this is the poet's dream. He says that there should be no domestic wars at all, that the world should not be broken into fragments, into pieces, into regions. There should be no domestic wars. And it is, he also says that where words come out from the depth of truth, because people, you see, people hide things, they speak lie at times, but the poet says that it is an unwanted quality of the people that they speak lies, that people should say whatever they want to say, that should come from the depth of their hearts, that should come, and where tireless striving stretches it almost towards perfection, and where people should tirelessly strive for making perfection of their actions for the benefit of the country, and where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. And also, you see, stream of reason, it is, you see, reason means you when you say something on the basis of logic, when you say something of logic, and it should not dreary desert and of dead habit. You say there should be no unprogressive thoughts, shouldn't. Dead habit means unprogressive thoughts should not come into the minds of the people, into the thoughts of the people. As you see, there is a dreary desert. You see, a desert is dreary thing. When you go, if you see, say for example, if you take a stream and put it in the desert, shall it be seen? No, it will get absorbed into that desert. Likewise, some thoughts, they get absorbed in the dirty minds. And the poet says that there should be, our reason should be clear. It should be a clear stream, and it should not be a dreary desert of dead habit. We should have progressive thoughts. We should have fruitful thoughts. It should not be some dead habits, some unprogressive thoughts should not come to our mind. And he says, where the mind is led forward by thee. But thee here is referring to Allah. It is referring to God. Now, Tagore says, oh my God, I wish that my countrymen are freed from the bondages of the British, that my people speak the truth, that my people held their heads high, that my people are free to express what they want, that my people have free logic, that my people have fair dealings, that my people have fair thoughts, that my people don't fear to say the truth. Oh my Lord, let this be a country in it every widening thought of action, that let there be into ever widening thought and action. Let my people, whatever they want to think, whatever the action they want to take, it should be in the benefit of the mankind. Into that haven of freedom, and there should be a freedom of speech, freedom of walking, freedom of talking, freedom of expressing, freedom of love, freedom of all other equality. There should be equality, there should be equity, and all other things should be, oh my Father. Oh, Father here refers to Allah, because Allah has created the whole universe. So in a sense, Allah can also be treated as the father of the universe. So he says, oh my Allah, oh my God, let my country awake, let my country be free, let there be my country like that, where the people speak the truth, where the people have the logics, where the people have the clear streams of thought, where the people are not bounding themselves into a domestic walls in the name of caste, or in the name of creed, or in the name of color. Let the people be there, let there should be no stream of unreasoning, let there be no dreary deserts, let there be no unprogressive thoughts. Let the people come forward for the progress of the country, let the people come forward for the benefit of the country. And this is the longing that the poet sees. Inshallah, tomorrow we will see the next part of this lesson. Till then, have a good day. Goodbye to you all.